It's bringing up rare diseases, rare cancers. You're polluting the air, the water, the land. It's hell. It's hell. It's the demon himself.
I know you said the guard tower's down there.
Yeah, the guard tower's down there. The guard died in there.
The guard died in there.
Yes.
Did they ever know what killed the guard?
I don't know.
Who found him?
I believe it was Mr. Yeager.
Okay. You've had some cancer deaths
Yes.
here.
The people in this house here, the
Who
Bennetts.
are they? The Bennetts?
Karen and her husband died of cancer.
Okay.
Okay. Jim Garrett died of cancer.
Garrett across the street died
Across
of
the
cancer.
street.
Okay.
In this house right here, Bernie and Karen
Okay.
died of. They both died of cancer.
Both died of cancer? Any other that we know of?
That's all I know.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good
Oh,
amount.
beside Buzz, Kiss Cat, down at the bottom of the hill.
Down at the bottom of the
Right.
hill.
And his water was contaminated, and he died of cancer.
Okay, we're here today for a rally for a lawyer, a human rights lawyer named Stephen Donziger. And today is the day that he's being released from home confinement. He spent nearly 1,000 days of home confinement and prison. And let me tell you what happened.
What was once paradise now has just been left in destruction.
The total area in which Texaco polluted is about the size of the state of Rhode Island. We are suing for environmental cleanup.
The plaintiff's accusation is defamatory and not true. It's just false and wrong.
Decenas de hombres y mujeres están padeciendo cáncer y están muriendo en la actualidad.
Seriously, there's absolutely no evidence that there's an increase in cancer.
The claim and the men who they say have made up their story for their own financial gain.
The analysis of our water and soil samples are proving that they're guilty of massive contamination.
Esto no es contaminación. Esto es una explotación industrial permitida por la ley.
Have a little chat with the judge today. This is something you would never do in the United States. But Ecuador, you know, this is how the game is played. It's dirty.
Usted es un abogado corrupto. Usted es un abogado corrupto de Texaco.
Fed up with corruption. They're fed up with foreign oil companies. They just had it.
Where is her cancer?
In the liver. These people have been systematically poisoned.
Sampled every stream, and it has nothing to do with oil. It has to do with poor sanitation.
The most marginalized people on earth.
Y está con agua. Petróleo. Sí, gasolina.
Fighting one of the most powerful companies in the world.
Texaco hizo cualquier barbaridad de cosas. Texaco responde por lo de él.
When you look at the science, they cannot really prove their case.
In fact, we're having a trial. It's a miracle. It's a huge victory.
Came back to the Southern District of New York and they bought that courthouse. They bought a judge that made a living arguing that tobacco, he's a tobacco company lawyer. That's what he did first, arguing that tobacco didn't cause cancer. And this judge told Chevron, bring a RICO action against Donziger, and that's what they did. Stephen Donziger ends up getting charged with criminal contempt for not giving Chevron his cell phone and his laptop, which had a lot of information about these indigenous people, and Chevron's not above killing people like that. So he ends up being imprisoned for almost 1,000 days. The maximum sentence for contempt of court is 6 months. He ends up doing 5 times that. So the $9 million judgment's gone. He served 1,000 days of confinement, and today we're celebrating the fact that he's getting out. Maybe we've set the bar just a little bit too low. Maybe we need to do something a little bit more drastic. I've met Ron Kuby.
And you're the first time you've been in a suit.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I'm famous for my intellectual showdowns with Ron Kuby. I've wrote about him on my blog. I had to take it down because it got a little. But I always, the first intellectual showdown. Well, you, by the way, you won my heart because you knew Melanie.
Yeah, I knew it was Melanie.
Yeah, once you knew that, I said Ron Kuby is
right.
cool.
It's like some things you can like be asked a trivia question where the person is 100% sure you don't know the answer, and it's that you know the answer.
But you came from that age, and that was just so cool. That was such a great time.
I was with a friend of mine, substantially older, and he was serving up Xanadu brandy, I believe it was. And he said, "I bet nobody can quote the first 2 sentences of the poem that gave rise to this name." To which I said, "In Xanadu de Kubla Khan, a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alf, the sacred river ran down through caverns measureless to man, down to the summit's sea." Samuel Taylor Coleridge. So if you spend a lot of time reading things that are utterly useless, you will one day find it useful. I've got to go perform. Good to see you.
I got to talk to you again. We need to get. I need Intellectual Showdown Part 3.
That was awesome.
You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, yeah. We chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there, but can you still recall the time we cried? Break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side.
Folks, there's our whole system of government is based upon what's called a social contract. Jean Locke, Jean Rousseau, those are the philosophers from back in the 1700s that came up with that. Under that system, we surrender our rights to look out for ourselves. We surrender those rights to the government. In exchange, the government is supposed to take care of us. They're not supposed to favor the wealthy over the people, the citizens, the working class. It's supposed to be equal justice. It took a civil war to get the 14th Amendment. They have broken the social contract. There is no reason for us to obey orders from this court because they are illegal. And until and unless we do something very, very severe, like disobey their orders, and when they send out their forces of coercion, yes, they're forces of coercion, because these courts, they write on paper, but they have forces of coercion. U.S. Marshals, etc., FBI, federal agents, all the forces of coercion. And we see what they do. We saw that, unfortunately, that man being choked by a force of coercion. Until we say, no, we're not following your orders, until we say, if you send out your forces of coercion, they will be met by our forces of coercion. Until we take back this country for the citizens, for the working people. We take it away from the rich, the Chevrons, the third biggest corporation in this country, I believe. How do you buy a prosecution? How do you buy judges? Until we say no forcefully, with blood. And it's Thomas Jefferson that said, let the roots of liberty be refreshed by the blood of patriots and tyrants. That's Thomas Jefferson. That's what he said. Until we take it serious enough to do that, you're going to continue to breathe poisoned air, drink poisoned water, and be nothing.
This is bullshit.
How do you feel about it?
I know. I'm Russian. It's coming in.
What?
Baldy, what do you want?
What do I want?
Up to this point of going forward. And I'm also being used as a weapon. Get out of here! Don't tell me. They don't want people to think about the plans they put in the electoral. They don't want people to think about Steve Donziger. This is not my case. I'm a lawyer. Right. This is a case owned by the indigenous people.
Why are you going to come over here and start saying fuck you to anybody? He said fuck you to the young lady. I'm back.
He came to me.